Echo. Do you want to know a secret? Something isn't right, and I'm starting to feel uneasy. Well, I don't have the time to dwell on that, though, as TJ begins to read. So you went to the school. You found it with some tools. Next, go to where I sleep. It's where I keep my secrets, something Chase can't keep. Sid. It's silent for a moment as we all take that in. I feel my face flush and my fur prickle as I wonder what the hell that last line is supposed to mean. Carl and TJ don't look at me, but I can sense that they want to. Carl is the first one to make a sound, clear in his throat. So, Sydney's bedroom, maybe? That's what I'm thinking. This is a kid writing this stuff, so it should be pretty straightforward. I shake my head. Really, guys? TJ finally looks over at me. What? There's a defensive tone in TJ's voice, and I know he knows what I'm about to say. This is way too much. TJ frowns at me. Too much what? You know. I trail off, not used to TJ looking at me this way. He lets his silence drag on. I look over to Carl for help. He clears his throat again. You know, Tej, this is pretty weird. Like someone would have probably taken it by now. Why does that have to be the case? People just have missed it. We almost did. TJ looks back down at the note, holding it in both paws. I reach out for it, but TJ pulls it back, like I'm going to try and steal it from him. Can I look at it for a sec? TJ hesitates and holds it out to me slowly. I eye the links as I reach out, taking the note from him gently. TJ's behaviour alone has me deciding that this whole thing is definitely a bad idea. The note looks old, just like the first two we found. The writing looks the same too. Maybe it is possible that Sydney came in here to hide the note, wanting to make the scavenger hunt especially scary for us. But still, I can't shake the feeling that something's off about it. I need to find time to really think about this. For now, though, I hand the paper back to TJ, who takes it from me gingerly as if worried it'll fall apart. Carl, do you know who lives in Sydney's old house now? Carl tips his head back as if thinking. I can't remember his name, but he's a red panda, I think. Well, let's go then. I give a start. To the house? His family moved out right after it happened. Well, there's no way it's still there, TJ. The other two were. This is different, though. Might as well try. I can't imagine going up to the new homeowner and telling him about Sydney and his posthumous scavenger hunt, and him just letting us in. But the determined look on TJ's face tells me right away they won't be able to talk him out of it. I sigh. Well, can we at least do it tomorrow? I look at my phone. It's almost 10. TJ doesn't say anything as he looks out the window, his face barely visible in the darkness. Carl shifts around next to me. Yeah, I'm getting pretty tired. We'll have all day tomorrow. TJ suddenly turns around and heads for the door. Fine, but we are going. I am, at least. Carl glances at me, probably feeling as uneasy as I am. Hey, I'm coming too. Just think it'll be easier. TJ doesn't respond, and we make the rest of the treacherous journey out of the school in silence. Jenna looks up from her phone as I slide into the driver's seat. Find anything? Yeah. Another note? Yeah. Well, what did it say? I busy myself with searching my pockets for the keys, so Jenna turns in her seat to look back at Carl and TJ. Well, next one is at Sydney's old house. What, really? Yes, we're going there tomorrow. TJ doesn't offer anything more, so Jenna turns back around in her seat and gives me a look. She seems to sense the mood, though, and doesn't question any further. As I stick the key into the ignition, TJ speaks up again. Chase, what did he mean by you not keeping secrets? A moment of silence goes by before I answer. Well, I don't know, or I don't remember. It's been a long time. I lay awake next to TJ, listening to the Lynx's steady breathing. I've been tossing and turning for the past 3 hours, trying to get some sleep, but my mind won't settle. This whole scavenger hunt has left me with such a bad taste in my mouth. Something about it is especially unsettling, and I've turned it over and over in my mind, examining it from every angle, and now I'm sure of it. I saw that fox hanging in the forest after Sydney died. That's why I was there in the first place. That's why I'd been so sad. I turn over on my side, gripping my pillow in both paws as I stare at the wall, still listening to TJ's soft snoring behind me. So how the hell is any of this happening? It's scary, but not because I think Sydney's ghost is writing scavenger hunts or some stupid shit like that. No, someone wrote the notes pretending to be Sydney, then planted them around the town for us to find. And that someone is likely one of us. Leo, Carl, Jenna, Flynn, or even TJ. Are any of us sick enough to do something like that? And if so, who? I tried to remember if I told anyone about that incident in the forest before today, but I honestly can't remember. Apparently my mom had told some people about it, Jenna's parents for one. I really can't imagine Jenna being the one. Whoever's writing them seemed to like singling me out too, mentioning the forest and how I told secrets. I roll back to stare at the ceiling and start wondering about TJ. He's been acting really strange the past few days, his bright, cheerful demeanour almost completely gone after we started the treasure hunt. Well, I guess it's possible he's upset enough to do something that's as crazy as this. Maybe it could make him feel like he's connecting to the person he'd watched die over a decade ago. Maybe he did it a long time ago and it's only now that we've come across them. Maybe he can't remember because he's buried those memories. Those papers do seem pretty old. But I can't shake the feeling that this person has it out for me in some way. I think about how Carl was the one to find the first letter. But I almost immediately dismissed the idea that Carl might be involved. But you'd have no reason to do it. Unless... The only other person I can even imagine doing this is Flynn. He's the one most upset about Sydney's death aside from TJ. Carl and Flynn seem to have grown pretty close over the past year or so. Could the two of them be involved somehow? It's pretty suspicious that it would just show up in Carl's basement. I roll back to my side, preferring to stare at the wall. I don't like suspecting my friends like this. This whole thing is messed up on so many levels, and I'm really worried about TJ. Depending on how this all ends, it could make things even worse for him. Considering how Flynn treated TJ at the river, I wouldn't be surprised if it's leading up to something terrible. And on top of all that, there's the insidious way that these rhymes refer to me. I decide I'm going to have to do something after we find the next note, depending on what it says. If we even find it at all. I'm hoping that we don't. Well, if you go in, I'll give you $1. No. $5. No. 10. No. You could buy like 20 candy bars with that money. I'm not going in. All right, quit yelling. Carl and I swing side by side, synchronizing our legs that we swing back and forth at the same time. As always, it doesn't work. Carl's so much heavier than I am. The wind feels good on my fur, finally cooling me down after being out in the heat all day. Toby sits on top of the slide next to us, watching with a bored look on his face. It's my turn, Chase. In a minute. It's been like 15 minutes. Toby sighs and sits back, pouting. I look back over the old school and smile. If you go inside, I'll let you. No! Toby's shout seems to echo around us, and I giggle. Fine. We swing a little longer, the rhythmic squeaking of the chains being the only sound. When's Sydney coming back with the popsicles? He's taking forever. Maybe his mom caught him and made him stay home? Carl leans far back in the swing and I feel the entire thing shift around. I wonder if it's going to collapse. We should go to your house, Chase. It's too hot. I want to swing. I lower my feet and let them kick through the dirt as I slow myself down, sending a cloud of dust in the air. This talk about Sydney reminds me of something I'd been told about yesterday, and now that he isn't here... Hey guys, my mom told me something about Sid yesterday. Toby's already slid down the slide and walked up next to me, holding one of the chains on the swing as he tries to push me out of the seat. Don't push me, Toby. Don't you want to hear it? It's a secret. I move to stand between the two swings as Carl kicks his hooves into the dirt next to us. Keep swinging, Carl. I want to swing with you. Wait, what's the secret? Swing, Carl. Wait a minute. It's really weird. That seems to finally catch Toby's attention. He settles down. What? Carl and Toby stare at me, and for the first time I feel a little worried about telling them, but having their full attention like this is kind of cool. You know what happened to Sid's dad a while ago when school started, right? Yeah. Carl's completely stopped on the swing now, staring at me. Well, my mom says that the cops think it's really weird what happened. Sydney's dad died. He's in heaven now. Toby says it matter-of-factly and starts to swing a little again. Even if you're a Mormon, you can go to heaven. My dad said so. Yeah, do you know how he died? I start whispering, look over my shoulder at the dirt road to see if Sid is coming. It's empty for now. He accidentally got shot when he was hunting with Sid. That's what the adults told us, that he was accidentally shot, maybe while he was loading his gun. My mom said that they aren't sure if that really happened, though. What do you mean? Toby seems to have taken interest again and stopped swinging, staring at me. Well, maybe Sid did something. Carl frowns. Like Sydney did it. I mean, I don't know. My mom said to be careful around him, just in case. Toby's eyes suddenly widen even more as he suddenly understands. Sydney killed his dad? Shh. Toby flinches as I grab his muzzle with one paw, squeezing it shut. You have to keep it a secret. Toby just sits there staring at me. Carl does the same. Now I kind of wish that I hadn't told them. They don't know though. My mom just said to be careful. That's it. It might have been an accident. I talk kind of fast, like I'm trying to take back what I just said. I let go of Toby, but he just sits there and doesn't swing. Carl just stares at the ground and his ears flick up. A few seconds later I hear scuffing footsteps making their way up the dirt road. I turn around to see Sydney jogging towards us. His arms are filled with colourful ice pops wrapped in plastic. Hey, sorry. I'd go to the basement freezer to find some. They're Super Wolf Pops. He stumbles up next to us, kicking up another cloud of dust. He stands there for a second, breathing heavy, sweating through his thick fur. Grab one? The three of us reach out automatically and take one of our own. Mine is partially melted already, blue liquid pooling at one end of the plastic. Sydney frowns at us. What were you guys talking about? Well, nothing. Carl says it almost before Sydney can finish his sentence. Sydney glares. Yeah, right. What were you saying about me? Sydney turns on me and I just shake my head, busying myself with opening the plastic. Then Sydney turns to Toby, his glare turning into a smirk. All right, Tobias, you better tell me what you're talking about. I feel my stomach turn even as I open the package and turn it upside down to pour the sweet blue juice into my mouth. Tell me I'm gonna wrestle ya. Sydney goes at Toby with his paws up, baring his blunt claws. Toby eyes him for a moment, but once Sydney gets close, the lynx twists out of the way like only a cat can. Don't touch me! Toby hides behind me as Sydney turns to watch him, lowering his paws slowly. What's wrong? Toby doesn't say anything, standing behind me quietly. I can feel his cold ice pop pressing against my back. We stand in silence for a while. I can see Sydney trying to figure out what's going on. I heard a thing of something fast. Hey, let's go to my house and play on the trampoline. Yeah. Carl hops out of the swing and starts walking toward the road. I follow him as Toby clings to my side. Sydney doesn't follow, and after a moment I turn back to look at him. He's glaring at me. What? He goes on glaring and be throwing his ice pop into the dirt and running past us. You guys suck. He runs up the road and back toward town, disappearing into the bright sunset. TJ gets up early in the morning, and I fall in and out of sleep as he moves around the room quietly. The shower turns on at some point, and I think I hear Jenna's voice. I fall asleep again, and when I wake up next, I see Jenna in the corner of the room, sitting at the little table and typing away on her laptop. I stare at her groggily until she notices me. Morning. Still tired? It's almost noon. I rub my face into my pillow and groan. Guess I was up later than I thought. I forced myself to sit up. Couldn't fall asleep. Yeah, I've been having trouble too. The beds are terrible. I look around. Where's Tej? Hike. What? He went on a hike. I sit there, frowning at Jenna. She types a while until she finally notices me staring and shakes her head. I don't know. He wanted to go alone. He's been asking us to go with him all week. I know. I think something's bothering him. Jenna pauses. Well, I know it's the scavenger hunt. Of course that's what's bothering him. I sit on the edge of the bed, rubbing my face with my paws. This was a bad idea. Jenna goes on typing. Maybe, maybe not. He really wanted to do it. I'm going to try to talk to him when he gets back, though. I stare at my feet for a moment, deciding on whether or not to just text him now. Jenna, do you think there's something weird about the treasure hunt? Jenna doesn't even look up from her screen. Of course I do. I think everything about it is weird. I mean, I don't even know Sydney put those there. Jenna finally looks up at me. Why not? Just everything seems off. Who do you think put them there then? I shrug. Well, I don't know. Jenna stares at the computer screen for a while, not typing anymore. Well, the whole reason we're doing this is because of TJ. This seems to be what he wants to do. And even if it was someone else that left him there, if it's going to help him, then I'm going to help him with it. Jenna shrugs. And in the end, all it is a treasure hunt. I'm just hoping that it ends at the house. Yeah. Jenna goes on typing, apparently done with the conversation, so I finally get up to go to the shower. Breakfast is long gone by the time I go to the lobby, and what's left is a few dried biscuits. So I opt to go to the diner instead, while Jenna opts to stay in the room to finish her paper. I sit in my usual booth in the corner of the diner, half-heartedly flipping through the menu. Janice comes over to take my order, and my short answers to her pleasantries keep her from being too chatty. Once I'm done ordering, I sit back and look out the window, watching the bright sun bake the hot desert below. I imagine TJ out there on the trail, trudging along the path under the 100+ degree heat. Aside from worrying about what he might be going through right now, I also worry that he might pass out in this kind of weather. I can only hope he had the right of mind to take along enough water and make sure to cool off like he did to me. I look down at my phone on the table, again considering whether or not I should call him. Maybe a text at least? I type out a quick one. Hey man. Then I set my phone back down and wait for a response, wondering if I might drive out to the trail myself if he doesn't. That's when I sense someone move up next to the table. I look up expecting to see Janice, but I'm met with the sight of a young white deer, his clasped paws holding a folded blue apron. I blank on his name for a few moments and I'm left with my mouth hanging open like an idiot. Then I remember. Oh, Julian, what's up? Julian smiles. Hey there. My shift just ended and I saw you sitting here. I wait, but he doesn't go on. I don't want to say it, but it looks like he's expecting it. And I can't really find a way out, so... Want to sit down? Yeah, sure. Julian responds quickly and slides into the booth across from me, setting his folded apron down on the table. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. I wonder if I sound a little annoyed. A part of me hopes that I do, so that he might get the hint like Janice did. But he goes on sitting there, interlocking his fingers and resting his forearms on the table. How are you today? Oh, good. You? Julian shrugs. Having better. This job is really starting to wear me out, you know? Yeah, I've had a few like that. While the buck seems nice enough, I don't think I've had more than 5 conversations with the guy in my entire life. He was just a regular face I saw through middle and high school, a part of the background. It wasn't until the last few years of high school that I noticed him and TJ hanging out, and TJ was the only reason we ever briefly interacted. So I'm a bit confused now as to why he's suddenly taken an interest. Yeah? What sort of job do you have? Well, I'm between jobs right now. I'm going to school, but I'll probably stock shelves over the summer, like I did last year. So that job wore you out? Well, no, but my fast food job did, the one I had in high school. I kind of like stacking boxes and putting stuff on shelves. See, I think food service jobs are definitely the worst, so I can see why stocking might be a little better. He breaks off as Janice comes back, setting down my chicken sandwich. Oh, you know Chase, Julian? A little. I know him through TJ. Well, if you see that boy again, let him know I'd like to chat with him. I look up and Janice gives me a wink before bustling off. I decide to definitely not let TJ know. But anyway, I'm going to school too, over at Mesa, and this diner has some seriously flexible hours. Only reason why I'm still here. At least you guys don't seem very busy, even during the lunch hour. I nod at the 2 or 3 other occupied tables. Yeah, it's a wonder we're still in business. Probably going to have to close down in a year or 2. That idea actually makes me a little sad. I look down at my chicken sandwich, feeling a bit awkward at the idea of Julian just watching me eat, so I leave it on the plate for now. Julian leans back and looks out the window. So, where's Teach at? I thought you two were hanging out. I get the feeling this is the main reason why Julian is talking to me. Yeah, he went off on a hike earlier this morning. I slept in. Oh, I see. You still do that a lot? I shrug. I don't know. We've only been here about a week. He does love going on hikes, though. I mean, does he do that at CCU? I stare at Julian for a second, for I realise what he's talking about. Oh no, I don't go to CCU. I'm at Pueblo. Huh. So you guys met up here? Well, I picked him up and brought him here along with Jenna, but she goes to Pueblo too. I grow a little frustrated having to explain everything to this guy. All I want to do is eat, then go back to the motel and wait for TJ. I see. Well, TJ was my best friend during senior year, after you and Carl left. We hung out all the time. After he left for college, we kind of lost touch. Yeah, he's not very active on social media. I'd only seen TJ post a few pictures since he started classes. A few were of him on a college soccer team, and one of him standing in a prayer circle along with an inspirational quote. But Julian revealing that he was TJ's best friend toward the end of high school caused my exasperation. I suppose he does have a reason to know what TJ might be up to. He's kind of depressed right after graduation, so I've been a little worried about him. Depressed? That surprises me. I've never known TJ to be depressed. Sure, he's been sad before, but not outright depressed as far as I know. Maybe I don't know much about him. I thought it might have to do with graduation. It went on all summer. Oh, well, if you want to talk to him, I can definitely let him know. I gesture at my phone on the table. I also make a mental note to myself that I should talk to TJ too. About everything. Julian smiles. That would be great. Please do. I think he must have changed his number after leaving. Okay. I hesitate, then pick up the phone to type out the brief message. TJ hasn't texted me back yet. How long have you known TJ? I set the phone back down and settle back into the booth. Oh, since he got here in like 2001, so 14 years ago? Wow, that's a long time. Yeah, it really is. You guys always been good friends. For the most part. I had times where I was kind of a dick to him, but he's always been a good friend to me. I see. Yeah, we all went to the same elementary school. It wasn't until junior high that I met him in Bible study. Ah. Of course. I always knew about you guys, though, the Echo Kids. Yep, that was us, the weirdos. Julian glances around before lowering his voice. It was mean, but this town is kind of messed up. Lots of weird things happen here. I can't argue with that. Julian looks around again, biting his lip. Then he lowers his voice another notch. Hey, so this is going to be a bit weird, and I don't want to offend you, but it's something that's bothered me for a while. I eyed Julian wearily. Yeah? TJ told me what happened at Lake Emmer a while back when we were talking about death and heaven. I feel a little chill go up my spine. He never actually told me about what happened, but I can tell it really affects him. Julian pauses, but I don't say anything, keeping my eyes fixed on the table. Now, you don't have to tell me, and if it makes you uncomfortable, please don't. I feel like if I have a better idea of what happened, I might understand him a bit better. Julian brings his interlocked fingers up to his chin to rest it on. I'm not going to ask him to tell me, of course. I know it was a long time ago, but I know you can carry stuff like that around for a long time. So if you're not okay with it, then please just let me know and I'll change the subject. I contemplate it for a moment, wondering if the buck is out of line to be asking about such a thing. I decide he isn't. He's one of TJ's best friends, so in a way he's sort of connected to it. So I guess he does have a reason to know. Okay, but please don't bring it up with TJ. Like you said, it still really affects him. Never. Julian looks at me solemnly. I think for a moment, gathering my thoughts. It's been a long time since I thought of the story from beginning to end. It was around August, I think, 2003. It's a little bit hard to remember. What I do remember is that we'd all gone down to the lake to swim like we did almost every week. There's this little spot where the beach kind of curves in. It's mostly sand and shallow water. That's where we'd usually hang out and swim. Even though the water was always sort of stagnant there, it was at least safe and warm compared to the rest of the lake. I think at some point one of us wanted to go and skip rocks. We had to go further up the shore to do that, and TJ was more interested in building sandcastles. So he stayed behind while the rest of us went up the beach to find the rocks. When you go up that far, you can't really see that spot anymore, so I'm not completely sure what happened. I vaguely remember looking back at TJ as we went up the beach. The lynx bending over his castle, the back of his wet swim trunks covered in sand from when he sat down. Sydney went with us, I at least remember that, but while we were skipping rocks he just sort of disappeared. I glance up at Julian for a moment and see him listening attentively, for I look back down at the table. Anyway, we heard some splashing and some shouting from TJ. We all ran up the beach to see Sydney floating out in the lake. I swam out there and got him. Too late though. I don't mention the part where TJ was crouched in 3 feet of water, staring at Sydney's body floating 20 feet away from him. I don't tell him that TJ's explanation of what happened always amounted to Sydney stepping out too far into the water. That maybe the current knocked him off balance and pulled him in. I would even said it almost looked like an invisible shark had grabbed Sid and pulled him out. And none of it makes any sense at all. None of us are sure what happened. It seems to be enough for Julian now as he shakes his head. I'm very, very sorry to hear that, but thank you for telling me. All I knew was that a friend of his drowned in the lake. He didn't tell me how close he was to it. It makes sense that that would still deeply affect him. Oh, no problem. I realise that Julian's probably the first person I ever told a story to outside of Echo. I also realised it wasn't hard at all to do. I suppose it's easy to tell someone who wasn't related to the incident, someone that has no connection to the raw horror of that day. That, and a lot of time has passed. Maybe I just got over it without even knowing. But yeah, Echo is a crazy place. You know about that mass hysteria thing that happened 100 years ago? This place is kind of famous for that. Almost all the paranormal podcasts I listen to have an episode on it. My heart skips a beat as I suddenly remember my project. I cover my face with my paws. Shit. What's wrong? Did I say something? I uncover my face to see Julian looking at me with some concern. No, I just forgot some schoolwork that I need to get done. A project. The excitement around the scavenger hunt completely wiped the thought of it from my mind. Oh? What kind of project? A news report on Echo and that mass hysteria incident. I've barely done anything on it since I first got here. Hey, that's so cool. Do you need help? I blink, the buck's eagerness surprising me. The first time I see him become embarrassed, the skin on the inside of his ears turning a dark red. Sorry, it's something that's always interested me, so I got a little excited. I glance down at my phone and see that I still haven't gotten a response from TJ, so I get an idea. Despite my initial annoyance, I like how considerate Julian was about the whole lake incident. I also want to give him a chance to see TJ before the end of our trip. Well, actually, I've been meaning to get some footage of the mine, or at least the opening, since it's sealed up. If you want, we can head up there to get some shots and at the same time look for TJ. The trail is in that area. Julian perks up. Hey, that would be really awesome, thanks. Do you want to get to eat that first? I look down at my sandwich and shake my head. I'll just eat on the way to the motel. Oh, I got my truck. I can drive you over. There's a bunch of room if you need it for your equipment. Oh, okay, yeah, thanks. Just let me get a to-go box and we can leave. 20 minutes later and we're heading up the narrow canyon road toward the mine. I haven't been there in years, but the dirt road leads straight to it, so I didn't even have to look up instructions. Julian chats away while I eat my lukewarm sandwich out of a foam to-go box. While there's an almost robotic quality to the buck with how articulate he is, it's also really nice. I can certainly see why TJ would call him a friend. The bumpy road curves upwards and finally we get to the mine. There's a wide open dirt space for parking, along with some concrete barriers along the edge of the drop-off. There are a few signposts, probably giving a brief history on the mine, and then there's TJ. The lynx is sitting at the opening of the mine right at the entrance. He's leaning back against the rebar grid that sealed the entrance. What the? Julian stops talking and looks over at me, then in the direction I'm looking. Whoa, is that Teach? I don't say anything because I realise now how limp the lynx looks. His head tipped back, his paws limply laying on the ground. I'm out of the truck before Julian can even park, my to-go box spilling out onto the gravel as I jog towards TJ. TJ, hey, what's wrong? You okay? The lynx doesn't respond. When I get to him, I see that his eyes are open. They're rolled back to the point where I can see only white. I bend over him, trying to help him sit up better, made more difficult by his bulky backpack getting in the way. As I'm doing this, I feel a rush of cold air from the mine blowing out through the rebar. I ignore it at first, focused on trying to get TJ to respond to me. Then I realise there's a hissing sound to go with it, like someone exhaling. I glance to my left through the grid, and I come face to face with the blood-red visage of rage. I see piercing yellow eyes and a row of white, blocky teeth. And then all of the blackness that extends beyond it. To be continued.